All right, we are live. And welcome to the Rabyd Atheist. I am your host, Ed Rabyd, former pastor turned atheist, now compassionate anti-theist. Welcome to my channel. So, thank you for all that. Today is Deconversion Hangout. A little bit more strict with the theists on this one. You have to be a subscriber for at least 5 minutes in order to participate in the chat. So, um, so that's that aspect of it. But the idea behind this particular live stream is if you're deconverting and you need a place to air your questions and air your concerns, and you just want some emotional support about some of the things you're going through, I'm here for this. This is kind of my therapy group as well for myself. So, and I just kind of run it. But so that's that. While we're waiting for everybody to show up, just to reiterate some of the announcements from yesterday. I'm going to start live streaming for sure Monday through Thursday. There'll be a different theme every day, so keep that in mind. I've got one that I'm going to be talking philosophy and morality to deal with the theists that accuse us of not really having bases for that. And then I have another live stream planned that will involve the Bible study video every week, and then I'll drop the video on Tuesday, and then we'll talk about it in detail live on Wednesday. So, and then Friday, whether we have a Friday stream and a Saturday stream will be up to you guys, depending on how many super chats I get during the week. That'll be that. So, basically making sure I get paid for my time. I know I really hate talking that way because I feel like I'm going back to my pastor days, and I just makes me feel odd. But let's see who's here. Let's see. We have our cranky elder god. I'm always glad to have a cranky elder god in the corner. Keeps people in line. And so Rimmer's here. Let's see. We got Iron. Good to see Iron. And Skeptically Pissed. And Wolf. Hi, Wolf. All right. But basically just hanging out and talking deconversion, talking about what people go through when they leave their faith. I was talking yesterday, somebody was mentioning, why is it that it seems so difficult to get people to deconvert or even consider their faith? And it's like there's an emotional attachment to faith that you have to get past. And that's much, much harder than the intellectual stuff. So there's that. Hey, so good to see you. How are you doing these days? I haven't had a chance to ask you, but how are you doing? That's a serious question, Asso. So, but yeah, it's the emotional attachment to faith is what people deal with the most, and that's kind of why this stream is here. So, to help people through that. Every once in a while, I still get contacted, probably at least once a week, about people, how do I get through this? And I think this stream helps them with that. So, I usually try to start with my own deconversion issue. So there's that. And let's see, Lisa showed up. Katie is here. All right, that's okay. You're Katie. You're a bunch of other ne'er-do-wells, including your host. So we're all here being ne'er-do-wells together. So yeah. Okay. Oh, you're great. Okay, good. I'm glad to hear that. I know that some weeks are better than others. So me too. I actually feeling real good since I got past this illness over the weekend. I slept a lot. I'll just put it that way. But yeah, but deconversion issues, emotional issues. I want to, for me, I had my therapy session. Oh, she's over a little over a week ago, and one of the discussion topics I had with my therapist was dealing with the fallout of long-term relationships that went bad because of deconstructing. And one of those relationships in particular was me and my ex-wife. And I try not to talk about my ex-wife personally on this channel because I don't think it's pertinent. But I do feel for those of you that are going through like marriage issues and that stuff, because or just getting back into the relationship. Like me, it's more about how do I go on from that. It becomes difficult because, when we talk like deconversion, we talk about the emotional attachment to church and faith and all that stuff. And when that's also wrapped up in like a long-term relationship, like a marriage or other relationships like friendships and family relationships, it can be even harder because the emotion of the religion's there, plus the emotion of the relationship. So, yeah. So, yeah. Yeah. And I think that's why the two kind of go together as a discussion, Skeptically Pissed. It's like you have this emotional investment in your faith. You also have an emotional investment in your relationships, and you have all this, stuff that goes along with those relationships. So it affects the past. My issue right now is how is it affecting my future relationships? Because I've gone into the dystopian dating world since getting divorced several times, and I usually find the same blockage every time, which is A, I don't want to get hurt again, and B, um, when a person I'm considering is religious to a certain extent, I really have a problem with that. Okay, it's like I don't want to become entangled in the emotional stuff of that relationship again. I don't want to be there with somebody that's going to be entangled with other emotional things because of their religion. Um, this is the question. What do they mean when they say God always comes first? Why would they say that to someone they're looking to start a family with? I think this is probably one of the most damaging things that religion does to relationships. Is there's always, I mean, we kind of laughed about it. Well, what was it? It was, yeah, Valentine's Day. We kind of laughed about it when we were reacting to that video where it's like, God's always in the relationship. And so there's, the Christian relationship is always a threesome. So it's like God's always part of it. Um, and the problem with that is you're openly telling a person that they're never going to be the most important thing to you. I mean, to me, from a romance point of view, it's kind of a romance killer. Oh, so you're openly admitting you have another guy in the relationship or another, and I'm just always going to be your side piece, kind of thing. And I really think that there's a psychological effect that happens there. I mean, I'm no expert. Um, so it's more like a God comes first, cop out kind of thing. Yeah, Michael kind of hit it. Good to see you, Michael. Yeah, it's kind of a cop out. Like if something in the relationship isn't going well with the God thing, then the person will say, well, I have to do this because God comes first. And it's a justification for putting the other person second place for whatever it is you're talking about. Like, oh, we have one night off together, but it's also your church night. And so you go to church instead of spending time with me. Well, God comes first. And it's like, it's really is a cop out because it's like you don't want to put effort into the relationship. So you're coming out at, yeah. I kind of made that point. Like, then really what God is advocating for is a threesome relationship where both people have to have a relationship with God as well that is influenced. So, yeah, it always means you're going to be second fiddle. And I think that's the problem that I had in my marriage is both of us for a long time, while I still believed and while she still believed, we're treating each other like the secondary person, like it's not the primary person. And I don't think that's good for a relationship if you're trying to build it. I mean, you have friendships that are way, you have good friends, you have average friends, work friends, whatever. But when you're talking about a serious partnership where you're working with somebody together, I would say, yeah, that's the biggest problem I have with it, because it's throughout my marriage, I'm always putting my now ex-wife second. Okay. And so how is my relationship with her going to survive? And she's doing the same thing. How is that relationship going to survive long term if one of us decides that the relationship with God isn't really a real thing? It's like, so yeah, God doesn't live in the church. Yeah. I don't know, Sandals. Greater than relation. All right. See, but that's honest. See, that's at least being honest about the fact that you have an obsession, which is greater than any relationship, which is greater than God. That's at least being honest. Um, so yeah, it, it if you're going to say that this is the person that I want to spend the rest of my life with, it seems like they should be number one priority in your relationships. So yeah, it also says that too. I mean, I'm, I don't know. He edited it. There we go. Wait a minute. I saw. Yeah, Rimmer had the question of who's that meant to impress. I think it's really setting a barrier to the relationship up front. Like, it impresses people that are like, I'll give you a story from my own dating life. Like when I was in Texas, I was on one of the, I can't even remember which dating site it was. And this lady, messages me and says, "Hey man, we should get together and let's talk." And I'm like, "Okay, fine." So I look up her profile, and the first thing on her profile is, "I'm looking for a man of God." And I'm like, so I text her back. I said, "Did you bother to read my profile?" It was a great moment. She said, "Well, no, I just, okay. So you basically, because of the picture of who I am, decided that I would be a good guy. You haven't even looked into me to see if I'm even a decent human being with my profile." And, I love that. And it's like the first thing I had back on my profile back then is one, I'm an atheist and an atheist advocate. If that's a problem for you, you should probably swipe left. so, um, but yeah, it was an interesting moment in my relationship life where I had this girl, this woman basically wanting a relationship with me, looking for a man of God. And I thought, well, that's not me anymore. So, no, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. If that's the case, why is the divorce rate so high among Christians? I mean, it seems like you'd have some proof in the pudding there. Yeah, I'm sorry. I've I've studied the statistics as a former minister about Christian marriages, and this is not true. Okay, if belief in God is all it took to make relationships work, then Christians should have the lowest divorce rates of anybody. And it just, yeah, of course, they aren't real Christians. Okay, so I'm sorry, that's not even testable or falsifiable at that point. You're just making stuff up. Okay, so you're just making stuff up. But yeah, no, I'm sorry if you have Bible believing Christians and they're going through the stuff and they still get divorced. Apparently, God isn't working. Okay, it's not working. Um, Sorry. No, I'm not. I'm an atheist, but I was. Okay, and I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be rude, but I know the stats. Okay, and it doesn't matter what denomination it is. It doesn't matter what form of Christianity is. The divorce rate among Christians is actually slightly higher than none. So if God is the thing that makes the relationship work, it's not working. Yeah, okay. Does that make you feel egotistical about yourself? See, this is a perfect great deconversion issue, by the way. Thanks for bringing it up, Stuart. But look at your comment drip is with ego. It just drips with ego. Like, I have arrived and I have found the truth and I am going to be tested and I will pass and others fail and I can just call down their failures. I I'm sorry. I am so glad that I don't think this way anymore, Stuart, because it's just so egotistical what people do. So yeah, no true Scotsman. I was going to say that, but yeah, drop your kilt. So yeah, tested by what? Yeah, that's always my great test. God is the ultimate third wheel. Yes. he I think BS it gets like that in a relationship when you're a Christian and you have all that stuff. Uh, I'm sorry, you're the one that thinks you found the truth. I don't have that feeling. You're the one who thinks that you've got the answers. I don't feel that way. You're the one that says that we're all wrong because we don't follow Jesus, and you do. Sorry. I'm not projecting. Sorry. If I was projecting, I'd try to be like you, but I don't want to be anything like you. So, so there's that. But yeah, I think the problem with putting like a God idea in the relationship is exactly what you're saying here, BS. He always becomes that third wheel in the room that negatively affects the relationship. So I actually, what answers do I think I have? I don't think I have the answers. I have a lot more questions. So I'm just not looking for God to answer them because there's no proof of his existence. So no good proof. So there's that. Hey, John. Yeah, I mean, you're the one who thinks, yeah, this, last Frybrender makes a good point. You're the one that thinks, hey, you have answers. I don't. So, oh, maybe Joyce should take the wheel. Okay, fair enough. Uh, tests are over. God never stops looking for a chance to trip you up and pull the rug out from under you. Yes, exactly. The thing about us deconverting is we realize if God does exist, he's kind of an asshole. He puts us in really lousy situations that we can't get out of. But I don't think I have answers. So I've attacked everything you said because what you said shows your ego. Every theist who comes here has an ego about what they believe. They believe they have the truth. And I just don't believe I have the truth anymore. There's no capital T in my truth. I'm just correcting you. Yeah. It's not, dude, you're coming to a place where we're deconverting and people have left the faith. Almost everybody, a good chunk of the people in this room right now have left the faith, including me. So it's not like, yeah, because you need correcting, because you come here with assumptions about atheists and about deconverting people, and you're wrong. I'm going to be dealing with a video tomorrow about that very thing. I got a guy who thinks he understands deconstruction and he's completely wrong. So, oh, so God doesn't love me anymore? Are you displaying what would Jesus do right now? I'm assuming you're a Christian. Maybe you're not. But is that how Jesus would react to me? No, yeah, I mean, 12 years ago. So there's that. So there's that. But there's that. Yeah, are you reading what you typed? Okay. Yeah, it's the wrong night to push it. Deconversion. I'm not. I can't sit with you. Yeah. See, I don't. Uh, a the problem is, I'm not picking on Stuart. Stuart's pretty typical of a lot of theists who come here that just blather on. Okay, and it's like you can't. It's the attitude of the mean girls. You're right about that. It's like you can't sit with us anymore. So it's like, but yeah, it's like, I don't have time for that. If you can't recognize the fact that because you believe, one of the things I got rid of in deconversion is my ego. Uh, I don't believe I have the truth anymore. I don't believe I have, I don't believe in any of that stuff anymore. And you do. You believe you have the truth. You found the path. You have found the thing that is going to save you in the afterlife. That's you have a personal relationship with Jesus. All that shit is so egotistical to me now. So there's that. Valid point, breakfast tacos. As always, you bring up the most valid points. Why are you pretending to be Christians here? You're really an atheist. They really literally know gods don't exist. They're pretending. They're denying them in their own righteousness. Just look at the tree. See, I always love it when you show up breakfast tacos. Your humor level resonates with me very much. So, hey, Filbert. Yeah, see, this is a deconversion hangout. I don't know why theists even bother. I mean, but that person had to become a subscriber to the channel to even chat. So, thanks. So, let's see. There was a comment I wanted to hit here. Feeling sad, leaving the faith doesn't mean it was the wrong decision. Exactly. I think a lot of people do have like this remorseful feeling, like leaving faith has made them sad. I know it makes me sad from time to time because I don't hang around. Some people I actually liked, so and those relationships are severed. I've had to turn down, like getting back to the relationship discussion, romantic relationships. Recently there was a woman who's single who I knew from school and from church, but she's still a believer, like, and a very devout one. And it's like, nope. Okay. I mean, we'd be perfect for each other in a lot of ways, but it's just like, nope, can't do it. So, but yeah, it's like Tommy Gun here. Welcome, by the way. Atheist in 2012. I'm a Christian again. The evidence for Jesus Christ is too much. Plus my fail right now. What do you mean? What evidence? Because I'm going to tell you right now, those prophecies have been said to be fulfilled in this day and age for 2,000 years, roughly speaking. As far as the evidence for Jesus Christ being too much, I'd like to know what that is, because I debunk that idea on a regular basis as a biblical scholar, by the way. I have my creds. I have a biblical, I'm a former minister, so I have a BA in biblical studies and have a MA in theological studies. So I've studied this stuff. The evidence for Jesus Christ is, shall we say, sketchy. Okay. Sorry. I don't know what you're counting as historical evidence, but no. No. I'm not even really sure Jesus exists. You got any evidence for that? No. I'm not trying to be rude, but it's it's kind of interesting that every time I do a deconversion hangout, the people that want to show up the most are theists. It's like they dude, we have good reasons for leaving the faith, and most of them have to do with the fact that we've analyzed the evidence. If you really want a good stream, come tomorrow, because I'm going to take on a video that talks about deconstruction, and the guy completely misrepresents what it is, and that way he can hand wave it away. I'm sorry, I walked away from the faith 9 years ago almost, and I haven't bothered to look back because the evidence is so bad for Christianity. So there's that. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, probably. Yeah, Christianity is very egoic. That's a good word. So there's that. It won't do any good. When I left the faith, it was a gut wrenching decision. So just so you know, Owen, it's like it was a gut wrenching decision. but it was based on 20 years of studying Christianity's claims and finding out that most of the claims are based on error. And a lot of the things that people say are evidence for the faith isn't really good evidence. So there's that. Yeah, it's kind of late. I've been hearing the Israel thing all my life for like literally 50 years. And every time it's wrong. And what are the odds this time? Okay, and I also like to point out to you that the whole Israel thing and all that stuff is made up by evangelicals and has been for like 200 years. It's not like an ancient doctrine of the church. It's only been around for so long. But no, I'm sorry, there's no prophecy being fulfilled here. Okay, that's your idea, but that's not the case. So, you love being the center of attention. I can buy that. Wasn't that one of the red flags we did a few weeks ago about dating Jesus, that he likes to be the center of attention? So, yeah, I'm going to be honest, BS. I don't mind him in this stream, even though it's the Deconversion Hangout, because it just kind of reminds me of the thinking that I've left. And I'm so glad I've left it behind, because like even this prophecy thing, it's like, I know now that whenever I see somebody says prophecy is fulfilled, I'm like, that's post hoc rationalization. I can take the writings of Nostradamus and do the same thing. I can take any quote unquote prophet of the past and look for some situation in the world and it'll fit. And that's because of the nature. It's just like horoscopes. It's like you can write it so general that it can fit any situation. Saying that Israel is going through something, Israel's been going through something all my life. Okay. And it's always, oh, this is the end times and Jesus is coming back just tomorrow. And it's like they've been doing that for 50 years with this Israel thing. And every time, we're 5 years later, they conveniently forget that they made these predictions that turned out wrong. So it's like, I don't know. I mean, yeah. I mean, being depressed is a way of life for me, but yeah, when I was in the faith, I was far more depressed than I was now out of it. It's been actually a good move for my depression to leave the faith. So I don't have any guilt trips by imaginary figures anymore. Trust me, it's a tough road, and that's why I'm here. Okay, and some people who go through deconversion go back into faith, and I'm cool with that. At least they analyze their stuff. I mean, too many Christians go through Christianity without analyzing their faith one bit, and they just accept it. So, former minister, are you questioning that, Micah Price? Okay, well, here you go. Call up the Assemblies of God Michigan District. You can find them in the phone book and ask if they have an ordained minister from 2001 that pastored a couple of their churches. How's that? And you can also call up Hersey Congregational Church, Hersey, Michigan. Look them up, get their number, and ask if they had a pastor there for 9.5 years by the name of Ed Rabyd. Go ahead. There, I put my receipts on the table. You got something there, Micah? Because I'm starting to get pissed off about this accusation. It seems like it's a very mundane thing to be a former minister, and every time you question it, it sounds like that's, Christian insecurity to me. It's like, how can a minister turn away from faith? Because they study the Bible and find out it's bullshit. Okay, that's why. Hey, no. So there's that. Yeah, just read the Old Testament. That's a good way to deconvert. Well, here's the problem. Yeah, it's still myth. I mean, if you want to believe myth, that's your business. I mean, I'm not against your belief. Just don't impose it on me. Yeah. No, that's not what Isaiah 28 says. I'll look it up. And I would also argue that's probably just like your interpretation, man. Okay. It's interesting how that gets interpreted. Mm, yeah, this is about Ephraim and Judah. It has nothing to do with a messianic figure. Once again, you got these people that pull the Bible out of context to make it fit prophecies. So no, no, it sounds like is not proof of. Okay. Yes, they do. They do. It's every Thursday, Wolf. They see the word deconversion hangout and they have to show up. Who's your serious scholars? Names, please. Citation, please. Because I'm going to tell you right now, there's a bunch of serious scholars that think that he's a myth, and others think that it's a growing legendary development. The only people who say that he existed, and I'm not saying he didn't exist, by the way, I'm saying that the historical evidence is a little bit sketchy. There's far more evidence for the existence of Julius Caesar, Alexander the Great, and even Socrates than Jesus. So there's that. Why is it insane? Um, how do you know that? And how do we even, it seems like that Jesus being worshipped as a god, the messianic thing is kind of all over the place. I think, when Jesus didn't turn out to be the Messiah everybody was looking for, or which is backed up in prophecy and scripture, that's when Christianity made up a lot of stuff. Oh, well, then if the early church was wrong, then Paul was wrong. And so all his writings are wrong. So there you go. You kind of talk yourself into that corner. Um, how can there be followers of Odin? There are followers of Odin, and Odin never existed. There are followers of all kinds of gods that didn't exist, and people follow them. What are you talking about? That's not even a good observation. There are plenty of gods that you don't believe exist and that don't show up in historic reality that people worship and follow. What are you talking about? Did you even bother to think about that before you wrote it? I'm serious, because it's like this is the whole nature of religious belief. So, okay, so if this is your prophecy that you think is going to happen, um, I'll be waiting for tomorrow. Okay, so yeah, yeah, let's stop the preaching here today. So 2 days since when? I don't know. Yes, in order for all that to work, the Exodus would have had to have been a true event, and we know for a fact that it's not. Sorry, I can literally dismiss the five books of Moses and Joshua as mythology at this point from an archaeological point of view. Yeah, I can't go back either. I've seen behind the curtain. I've used this analogy many times. It's like, how can Dorothy and her three friends go back to believing in the Wizard of Oz after they see the professor? And once you've seen behind the curtain of Christianity, you can't go back unless you want to literally close that curtain in front of the professor and pretend that didn't happen, because that's what you have to do. You have to literally pretend that the knowledge you received when you deconverted didn't happen. And we're seeing a good example of that on display, that you're pretending that that didn't happen. So yeah, I get you. I don't take faith seriously anymore either. So So Jesus had followers, therefore was real. Odin has followers, therefore Odin is real. So, yes, it's like waking up from a very, very bad dream. Um, it's amazing how much your vision widens as to what you can consider when you get out of religion. Religion really narrows your focus in a very bad way. I know I became much more relaxed when I knew I didn't have this deity hanging over me, threatening me with hell all the time. So, it allows, oh, whew, yeah. But yeah, it's, and I actually find atheism to be a lot more, I don't know. See, I, to me, atheism is just, I don't believe in God. Okay. And so whether that's exciting or not exciting is irrelevant if it's true. There's other things that make life exciting. So, um, I have read Isaiah 28 and you're misinterpreting it and pulling it out of context. So have a good day. Unwilling to open up to the same faith. Yeah. When people come here, I already know that they're sketchy on their faith. It's my running theory that people come to atheist channels to troll because they have some insecurity about their own faith, and so they come here to kind of, if they can get one over on the atheists and argue successfully against an atheist, that boosts their faith, and it's really an emotional thing, but that's fine. I don't think they realize when they come to a deconversion live stream like this, um, they actually remind some of us of why we're deconverted. I don't think that they realize that they're counterproductive either. So yeah, they're insecure. They very much are. I know I was. Yeah, that's kind of the point we're trying to make to the one guy, is Jesus doesn't have to exist for him to have followers. Yes, I'm such a charming person, BS. Oh my God. My autistic self masks so much. And the only time I can really let my guard down is when on a live stream or when I'm with close friends. And the rest of my life, I live like a hermit. So, so there's that. So thanks for that. That's hilarious, by the way. Um, oh man, yeah. Oh yeah, I'm just a charming person. Everybody loves me. I'm sorry. I'm not hand waving anything. I took a deep dive over this for 20 years, bro. You're the one that's hand waving the people that have deconstructed. Okay. You're the one that's hand waving the evidence against your faith because you don't want it to be true. You want your faith to be true. Okay. Um, but I'm sorry, laypersons are very, very wrong because their reasoning, they don't know all the facts like their pastor does. If a pastor has gone and done actual scholarship on the Bible, they know that a lot of the things people believe in the pew are complete garbage, but they go with it because it keeps them in money. So, hey, Dave, good to see you. Oh, yeah. Oh man. Oh, I wanted to get this one in. Thank you very much, J. Cal. Jesus fulfilled zero prophecies, lied about his return in Matthew. Truly, I tell you, some of us standing here will not taste of death when they see the Son of Man coming in his kingdom. That is very true. My theory behind Christianity is it was an apocalyptic movement that wasn't expected to last past the first century. Paul preaches that way, at least the authentic writings of Paul that we know are his. He preaches a very apocalyptic style. And then when it doesn't come to pass, somebody feels the need to use Paul's name and restructure things and basically make excuses as to why Jesus didn't come back in the first generation. So, um, And so Jesus, in my opinion, is a failed prophet if he existed. So, um, and now Christianity has basically been trying to save the cult all this years, and they've been very successful at it. So, um, I give them credit for that. So, so, hey, Bren, good to see you. So there's that. Thanks, J. Cal. I appreciate the donation. That kind of pays for the therapy session tonight and me having to put up with this. Yes, there really is no proof that Mary, the alleged mother of Jesus, either existed either. She has less proof for her existence than Jesus does. Just because the Bible mentions her doesn't mean she existed either. I mean, there's plenty of imaginary fictional characters that are mentioned in ancient mythology. It doesn't mean we think they're real. So you find them incredibly insecure. Me too. I think that's why they come here. Oh. John, it's why I considered other religions when I left Christianity. It's like, do any of these seem more real to me? And I don't know. I explored around, John. You know, I mean, I walked away from Norse paganism with the nine noble virtues and a healthy respect for the mythology, the storytelling of the mythology. I mean, because it's really good storytelling, but it's like there's no reality behind this. But there's some good virtue ethics there. I walked away from some other things that I looked at. I've looked at Buddhism, I've looked at the occult, I've looked at a bunch of stuff, and it's like it's all the same basis of belief behind it. But yeah, it's you know it's all this superstition. I think what's his name? Escapes me right now, and it's right on the tip of my tongue. But there's a pastor out there who, when he first started out, he said, really, it's not religion that's a problem, it's superstition. He says, because superstition goes wider. Like we have these beliefs that are based on purely, mythology or religion or occult like practices or the whole pick up a penny kind of thing in the United States and you'll have good luck, that kind of thing. So, no, he didn't. Sorry. I know you want that to be true because you're afraid of death, but yeah, it didn't happen. So there's that. Yes, I think you're right. I think it's like back in the day, okay, when Christianity was coming alive, philosophers could make money by philosophizing in Athens. You could teach people philosophy and make money. I think religions, all religious figures all got money. Priests of pagan temples got money, and so you have a new cult, and it's a really good way to make cash. Okay, because all you have to do is show up, preach, and I mean, I admit it as a former pastor, it's an easy gig from a lot of perspectives because you just have to, show up, preach a message, teach something during the week, be there to hold people's hands when they're going through stuff. And I can see a societal need being filled there by religion, in a sense, but you don't need the religion to do it. So but yeah, I think what happened is the apocalyptic movement. It's like a lot of these guys that predict the end of the world and then it doesn't come to pass, but they want the religion to continue, so they find a way to make the religion continue. This is a very common pattern in cults, and I think that's what happened with the Jesus cult in the early days. Is it got to a point where I don't dismiss the existence of Jesus. I acknowledge that the historical evidence is scanty for him, and it's not as good as some other historical figures. So, and So there's that. Oh, thank you. So there's that aspect of it. But I got to the point where when it came to Christianity that I realized that it was a oh, cranky elder God. I wish I could read that comment, but I'm surely Cthulhu would come out and kill us all. So I am not going to read that comment out loud. And so there's that. But thank you very much. I appreciate it. And I always appreciate the 666 reference. I think that's one of the most hilarious things that Christians used to believe back in the 70s and 80s was the mark of the beast. And unfortunately, they still do. So, yes, every gospel tells a different resurrection story. That's true. So, yeah, Bren, you're being very, very tolerant tonight. You know who's not here, Bren? Martin. If Martin was here, this would be over. His trigger finger about, putting people in timeout and banning people is pretty, he's not afraid to pull that thing. So yeah, so I have read it many, many times, dog. I got biblical studies cred, Trinity Bible College, Bachelor of Arts, Ministry Biblical Studies, class of 1993. MA, Master of Arts in Theological Studies, Asbury Theological Seminary, class of 1996. You can look them up. I have to do that because every time people challenge whether I was a former minister or have any education, I'm like, go look it up. There's my receipts. Go find them. So I'm not going to make you do the work, but I'm not afraid of people studying my background. Yeah, Cyrus is referred to as the Messiah as well. I think the problem with the whole messianic view there, Mr. Freibrender, is this, and you're right, is that so many people refer to themselves as the Messiah, and the Jews refer to so many people as the Messiah. Jesus is just another one of them. And I really think that Jesus just got popular because of the message, if you really want it. It's a very emotionally appealing message, by the way. Satan's phone number. I don't know. Is that true, Rimmer? Sandals makes a claim here. Is that true? So, but yeah, I've always wanted to talk to Satan. I think he's probably a more cool dude than Yahweh. Yeah, God's kind of a jerk. Yes, it's true. Oh, you gotta love when you go from one language to another, the crap that comes up. Oh man. It's like there's something in Spanish that there's two words that sound like very similar, and one of them is not dirty, and the other one is. And I can't remember what it was, but my Spanish kids, when I was teaching high school, taught me that. So I'm like, oh. I go back to the days of the Jesus freaks of the early 70s. I actually think Christianity was better back then. Counterculture was more appealing than Christian nationalism. Yeah, I think so too. The hippie version of Christianity was always nice and easy. It's more about love and hating people. So yeah, I can. Yeah, we have that too. We put a C in there, but yeah, there's still Dick is like the nickname for Richard. So if you're named Richard, you have the nickname Dick. So, and some guys, roll with that. So, is it Alverga? Yeah, it's like there's a Spanish, because I remember somebody said it in class that was learning Spanish, and like, nope, you got to change the emphasis on that because otherwise it's a dirty term. And I had to correct one of my non-English students once about saying the word for kitty cat, the wrong one, because I said that it can be a very offensive word in English, and I had to use my translator on my phone to tell him why. So he's like, oh, so, but yeah. Is that it? Like literally one letter difference. Okay. I think that's what it was because it's like, oh, you said that wrong. And, and yeah, the English language and the other languages, it gets really funny, but English is one of the hardest languages to learn unless you're a native. So he should use that speech. Yes. You got to understand, I love Martin because Martin has like zero tolerance for preaching. And it's because he's been preached. I think it's because he was preached to all his life and he just has no, I don't want to hear it, so. Dick Van Dyke, is he still around? I heard he was still around. He's got to be like 99, but yeah. Yep. Yep. Caesar 666. Oh, yes, I could see that. Oh, you got to miss the old Nickelodeon. Yes. Did Gene Hackman die? Did Gene? Damn it. See, the problem is, Azo, I know I'm getting old when the people that were young actors when I was a kid are kicking the bucket. It's like, oh, damn. Is he still dancing? Damn it. Okay, I want to know what fountain of youth he's drinking from. So maybe it's the dancing. I honestly think simply being physically active like that can keep you going. But so I remember him. Oh man, and his dog died. Wow. Oh wow, that's sad. Man, wife and dog too. Feel sorry for the dog. Man, that's just. I don't know what to do with this. I, for me, grief has always been troublesome. Um, I think it's because I'm autistic. I tend to gallows humor death to death, but I just don't. The emotions of it overwhelm me, and so I move. Gene Hackman was relocated. No foul play expected. Okay. Huh. Yes, he was old when you were young. There's a few of those like that. Like, I don't know, but there's some of them. Carbon poisoning. Okay, so furnace, bad furnace. That sucks. Um, yes, it is very troublesome. It, see, I don't know. There's times, BS, where I think I'm not wired right, and in fact, I know I'm not wired right. But like, I'll be hit with a heavy emotion, and I'll say the wrong thing, and I'll go the wrong direction with it, and it pisses people off. And I think it's because I'm just not wired to deal with certain emotions, and grief is one of them. It's hard for me. When I do actually deal with it, it can actually be very, very depressing and like long term depressing. So I avoid it like the plague, and it's it's a deconversion issue for me because having held the hands of so many people that were dying over the years as a minister, it gets troublesome. So no, I like the Celtic traditions; they're cool. It's Earl. It's okay, Earl. We're going to go on for a little bit, but yeah. But yeah, it's been fun. We had a few theists. I think you and Martin would have probably dealt with them more efficiently than some of the other ones here. But some of the other people are tolerant. Some of my mods aren't, and I'm appreciative of all of them for their attitudes towards the job. I think it's good to have variance. So, yeah, learn from your mistakes. I think that's why I kind of gravitated to virtue ethics, because virtue ethics isn't. I'm not starting with I'm a bad person. I'm starting with here I am. How do I become better? Okay, and if I make a mistake, how do I correct it, and how do I make up for it? So, yeah, you didn't miss the whole show. And it's yeah, I'll probably go on for another 20 minutes, but it was fun earlier. We had a couple theists. Um, it's a deconversion hangout, and theists always feel the need to come and join us and then preach. So, yeah, me too. This is why I do grieve alone, because if I hang around people, I will say the wrong thing. And it's like, although I have found that that's actually like funeral home directors in the United States, that tends to also be the case. Like, because they deal with death so much, they have to joke about it. Um, so I'm, I always have a problem with it, even to today. But my most funny story in dealing with a funeral home director was a story that he told once of how he was doing a funeral, and his ringtone was "Another One Bites the Dust" by Queen, and it went off during the service. It's like, well, that was inappropriate. So there's that. Um, you like playing with your food before slapping it on the grill. Okay, that's a good analogy. Oh, hi, yeah, the dopamine thing. I wanted to comment on that. Yeah, I was a former Pentecostal, and I now realize that that's what that was. That all of it is about dopamine um, for religious experiences. I can really definitely sing. Eh, so there's that. Um, I I do too. And the reason I say that is, how do you, if you're going to say you were an atheist and it was because you looked at the facts, how do the facts suddenly disappear simply because you want to believe again? I'm not really sure how that works. And it gives me my chance to use my line of, well, you were never really an atheist then, because they always tell me, people always tell me I was never really a Christian, which, okay, whatever. Yeah, I do too. I want them to, I really did hope that some of these people would like go, oh, you know, yeah, maybe I'm not quite there yet. So, me too. I think that's very similar to me. I cry alone. I don't like to cry around people. Um, I It makes me very uncomfortable too. And I think I don't know what to do with my emotions at the time. Like, if I go to a funeral, it's very difficult. I have to kind of sit by myself and stay in the corner these days. But when I was a pastor, it was awful because I'm supposed to show some sort of emotion about the person's passing, and it's like I'm having a real hard time with that. So, um, you know, funerals ain't about the dead anyway. It's about the living. I've learned that as it's a social thing that we do to kind of move on. So, yeah, me too. It's not that I'm cold about it. It's like, I guess if it's somebody I don't know hardly at all, I kind of accept it. Like celebrity deaths, I accept. Like, there's no disbelief. It's like, okay, all right, you're tough and grizzly. Okay, that works. Uh, believe in Jesus alone, period, type of Christian. The second one, because there's salvation in no other name but Jesus Christ. That's what the Bible says. So I mean, I'm not going to get into the real Christianity debate with you, Tommy, but it's like, it doesn't really matter what type of Christian I was. The issue is there evidence for Christianity? And the answer to that question is not very good evidence. Okay. Stuff that's made up a lot, but see, this is why you and me can't go to funerals, Katie, because I'm laughing at this. No, they look dead. They don't look good at all. See, because I can see my one grandson is really autistic, and I can tell, and he's very, very concrete about that stuff. Like he made his siblings kind of cry a little bit because he like saw a dead bird or cat or something, and oh, that's sad. Oh, no, they're just dead. It's like he accepted it so quickly. So I think this is the way I try to live now. Just be a better person every day. Oh, well, okay. But then that causes you to ask a question. Why would somebody who had invested so much time in Christianity walk away from it? And I'm going to tell you why. Because it's not real. It's as fake and as false as Hinduism, Islam, and all the rest of them. If you apply the same criticisms you apply to all the religions you don't believe in to your own, you suddenly realize they apply. So, talking about reactions to death is hard. People tend to see me as a psychopath or something. I just can't express empathy in a socially acceptable way. Oh, have you described me as well, Earl? I am so gallows humor at every funeral. It's like, because people say, "Oh, they look so good," and I'm like, "They're dead. They don't look good at all." It's like, okay, I immediately do something inappropriate that's situational to whoever the person was. So it's like, because there was one guy that I knew was an avid book reader, and my first thought was, well, I wonder if he finished that book he was reading before he died. And it's like, what does that have to do with anything? But yeah, it's like, I just get that way. So I don't know how to react. I don't know what to do. So I end up spending most of my time in the back of the room trying not to be stupid. So yeah, it's a strange experience to go to a funeral to somebody you never met. I don't know. I I get it. I get how funerals evolved from our species because we want to pay respects to somebody that maybe was good for the tribe or something. But now I just find them awkward. Um, so it's kind of like why I'm sitting down and writing my own last requests about my own, because I don't want my Christian relatives to paint me as something I was not. So I'm also I'm not going to spend the blood money to have myself, embalmed and put in a sarcophagi and all that stuff. Just where's the nearest flame? You burn me up, put my ashes in a jar, sprinkle them over something. I think so. Yes, this is a constant thing. And the funny part, Lou, here's the real funny part. I've had every denomination tell me that. Like if you had been a Baptist, you'd be a real Christian. If you had been Episcopal, you'd been a real Christian. Catholic, like every single one of them has come in and said that. It's like a universal Christian attack on the atheist or people who have left the faith. If you were the real kind of real Christian, you you wouldn't have you wouldn't have had this. And that's universally true. Like when theists, and when you're deconstructing, this is crap. Okay, because it's like, no, this is not helpful. So what the hell does that mean? And what's the point of saying it? I have a question. Earl, have you ever dressed up as Wednesday Addams for Halloween or something? Because I think that would be hilarious. I think you could pull it off too. Um, I'm, she's like one of my favorite characters in television, especially after Christina Ricci did her in the two Addams Family movies. I'm like, damn, what a great character. So, I love that part. Why did somebody die? Not yet. So it's like, okay, wait, you know, so, just wait. I don't believe that for a second. I don't know how. I don't know how accepting a celestial dictator for life is a appreciation thing. So, and the fact that you were a Christian before, I think I'm going to be blunt with you. I think it's you want it to be true and you want it so badly, you just decided to embrace it again. Okay. And you're not really a real Christian at this point. You just want it to be true. So, but that's me. That's me being somebody who'd been in the church for a long time and watched people. Yeah, there are no real Christians, according to Christians. Uh, yeah, haven't I? See, that's kind of my thing, Lou. I mean, cremate me, put the ashes on a desk, and say some nice words about me. I'm not going to be there to enjoy it anyway. And then I'd rather have y'all go into some reception hall and have some dancing and some party at my expense. And my final expenses, I'll put some money aside for that reception. So, so there's that. You had no choice. Oh, okay. So God just put a gun to your head and said, "Be a Christian now," because that's the way that sounds, and that actually sounds very psychopathic. By the way, now that I think about it, yes, addicts all have relapses. Valid. All right, thanks. Thanks for the correction, Earl. Oh, but yeah, I love Wednesday Addams. She's a great character. Makes me laugh. Yeah, I think there's a Calvinist in the room, but I hated Calvinists when I was a Christian, so I have now even more reasons to dislike them. Brothel? Okay. Are you trying to find a way into my death party, Cranky Elder God? And that's you want to make sure you have the proper party favors that you would enjoy if you went to such a party? Is that what we're doing here? So, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I've had that too, Michael, where they tell me being the wrong believer is actually worse than being a non-believer. That they're happier that I'm a non-believer and I didn't go to the wrong religion. I've gotten that several times in the running of this channel. So, so, so there's that. I, yeah. Here's the thing I'm happy about when I go to a funeral. I have a lot of good memories of what a person. If I go to a funeral of somebody I know, I have a lot of good memories, and I focus on that. Especially when we laugh together. I don't know why that is. I appreciate people that can make me laugh, and it's not hard, but it's like I appreciate those people far more when I look at them that way. And when I go to a funeral, I'm trying to remember the person. And what really pisses me off now is the Christian preaching where they take it as an opportunity to preach the gospel, and it's like we're here about them, not about your imaginary friend. Okay. So, and that's usually what gets me. So, all right. You're buying flowers for Fatty's funeral tonight. You have a debate tonight, don't you? All right. You have fun with that. Okay. You have become a debate bro, though, and I'm worried about you. I am worried about you for that reason. So, yeah. Well, The other thing, Lou, is it's like when they say you were never really saved to begin with. You know what my counter is? That is neither are you. Like, what? I'm saved. I'm like, there's nothing to be saved from. The whole idea of sin and need of salvation is a made up thing. And so none of us are really saved. We just convince ourselves that we're saved from something. And I don't sound like that at all. I'm just telling you what you're going through because I've seen this before. Okay. I'm not saying you aren't a real Christian. I'm just saying that Christianity isn't real. That's a very big difference. Okay. No. La, la, la. Yeah, that's why I'm glad I don't buy Matthew 11:7 anymore. There you go. Yeah, I know, but you're starting to be more formal about it. I don't know what to do with you. I'm proud of you. I don't mute people. My mods do. Um, and you're the one who just engaged in name calling. I haven't called you anything. I've said that you're wrong, and you don't seem to like that I say that you're wrong. But I don't. My mods handle all my moderation. I do not do it anymore. So if you got muted, it means somebody in my mod section, be more polite and don't be a jerk and don't make claims you can't back up, and you probably won't get muted. And this is a deconversion hangout, dude. We kind of protect this space so we can talk about some of the stuff we're going through. And I don't understand why you theists feel the need, other than maybe your own insecurity, to come and bother us at these times. So, you can call me a coward all you want, but I addressed your comments, and I will continue to address all theist comments as long as they're respectful. But I didn't mute you. Okay, I don't do that. Okay. I prefer, actually, because you were talking in such a way you were hanging yourself, so I don't really have to do much with somebody like you. So, yeah, it's mental confirmation. It's a well-known psychological phenomenon of religion that when you accept the truths of a religion, you convince yourself that you're one of those people that's saved or part of the religion in some way, shape, or form. So, yeah, I was a preacher over many religious people for a long time. I don't get rid of people because they're religious. It's usually because they make accusations they can't back up. Um, so now you're the coward, SBS. Asshole. You know, it's it's one thing when I deal with those guys on like Rabyd Fire on Tuesdays and stuff like that, but here I don't mind dealing with theists if they have genuine questions about deconversion, but I don't find that too many of them have genuine questions about deconversion. So you're not muted. BS, I think it would be nearly impossible to mute you. Matthew 7, what happened? I have to force myself to do things that scare me so I don't slide into isolationism. Yeah, kind of like me in live streaming. Yeah, it's kind of like that. I get it. I get it. Yeah, well, everybody relapses from their addiction. You got on the wagon and now you're off it again. I mean, you need the religion to function, so I'll let you have it. But I'll tell you, there's nothing true about it. You need a backup as well. Oh man. Let's see. So this thinking created a bad guy outlook for everyone that doesn't drink the stank blood of a body sacrifice. Yeah, kind of. I mean, communion's always been a weird thing for me anyway, even when I was a Christian, because you have that stupid debate about, is it really the blood and body of Jesus Christ? Is it metaphorical? Is it symbolic? Is it, if we're gonna stand on the line, we'll be Lutherans. So, you know, yeah, deconstruction and deconversion are two different things. Deconversion usually involves deconstruction, though. I was telling people that Jesus saved them and that they needed to come to Jesus for salvation. So was I leading them astray? I was leading people astray when I was a pastor, when I was preaching the exact same things that you guys talk about. So maybe you're right. Maybe I was leading them astray and saying that they should be Christians. I always love this. Protestantism is a plague. You know what? I usually don't worry about you, Christian. You guys are going to beat each other up. It's a plague, huh? Okay. So to all the Protestants that come here, I'm sure they'll love that. But yeah, you know what they say, and I feel they're closer to right. Catholicism is a false Christianity that has led to more evil than anything else. And as an atheist, I kind of buy that. Okay, so thanks for playing. I kind of figured that was going to happen. It's Earl puts it in a way it's eloquent and refined as always, but yeah, I'm sorry, when I see somebody says I was an atheist, deconverted, and I went back into faith, it's like, how do you do that? I mean, you must have changed your level of what you accept as evidence, or you have this real deep need to have the religion again. And it's kind of like an alcoholic suddenly, I really need a drink after being in AA for 20 years, and they slide off the wagon to me. So, yeah, I'm a Protestant atheist too. Yeah, I mean, that's the other thing. I mean, see, the problem is, Katie, I kind of agree with him because not because of the Protestantism thing, but yeah, I was leading people astray because I was preaching a religion that isn't true. So it's kind of funny when people make that accusation, because on the one hand, I'm like, okay, yeah, okay, that's your thoughts. How do you know what I was preaching? And then you have to bring in your Catholicism, whatever, and it's a plague. And now you can diminish people in your own team as. But yeah, I'm like, well, yeah, because I think that Christianity is a con. So yeah, I was leading people astray in the con of Christianity. So for the win. Okay. Yeah, maybe. Oh man. Yeah, yeah. You're a Catholic atheist. All right, there we go. Oh my God. I know. We don't have even, you know what's bad about that, Michael? I don't even have a pope to make fun of. A former Catholic atheist can make fun of the Pope all day long, and everybody loves it. So if you're intellectually convinced of Christianity, then you have a problem with what you consider evidence. So sorry. Yeah, it's still, as Bren says, is still kind of vague. Okay, what do you mean? What convinced you that Christianity was true? And saying you have no choice is like, okay, so God came along and grabbed you and pulled you back into a relationship. That sounds abusive as hell. Okay, that's what my largest complaint against Calvinism was. it's an abusive relationship. It's an abusive idea of God that God just forces you to believe or don't believe. So, Bishop, oh, asshole. I don't know. Maybe call me the Black Viking Pope or something. I don't know. So, but yeah, if you're basically, Tommy, if you're basically saying that you were forced to be a Christian and also God put his hand over your mouth and forced you back to bed, I mean, what? That doesn't sound right at all. And accepting an abusive relationship is still accepting an abusive relationship. How long was I in Texas and how long? Soon, deeper. In Houston, there's a church on every flipping corner. Okay. And a lot of them were Baptists. I was in Texas for about a year and a half, and one of the things that bothered me was how pervasive the Christian culture even was inside the school system. Like, Freedom from Religion Foundation could have walked through my school and found 5 cases. I'll just put it that way. It's kind of that way. And so as you move farther south, you're going to hit that more. But I don't know. Once you get south of the Ohio River, it kind of gets weird. Kentucky was that way too for me when I was at Asbury. It's like Christianity is very persuasive in the culture. It's pervasive, I should say. So they do that, don't they, John? They change him. Yes, all hail the Rabyd atheist. There we go. See, I could be the Rabbit Pope. There we go. There's another one we could add, Earl. Throw a Pope cap on the rabbit for the artwork. That might be. I am not sure you are. Just like people tell me that I was never a true Christian. I don't think you were a true atheist. Because if you're an atheist, you have your evidential standard of what's going to constitute proof. So you're sitting there, you're saying you accepted Jesus, but he has the same level of proof as Odin. Why do you pick and choose a particular religion? Well, I would say it's your emotional, psychological need for it. So, no. My father's with me. Oh, man. So, Cardinal Wabbly Rabbit. Rabbit. Oh, man. I knew I needed this stream tonight. I come here for the therapy as much as anybody else. So, because I need to talk about this stuff with other people going through it too. So, because even after 9 years, it's like, it's dealing with people that are still Christians in my life that is usually the thing. So there's that. But yeah, Cardinal Wabbly Wabbit. There we go. I've always kept this as a nation format, and I'm your benevolent dictator for life. But and I run this country really poorly, by the way. If you haven't noticed from watching the chat, I'm not a dictator. So there's that. But so, oh man. Yeah, evolution is true. And I don't sound that way. I'm telling you, there's a difference between being somebody who is a Christian who leaves it and then somebody who's a Christian leaves it and then goes back. Because when I deconstructed, it was a very emotionally jarring experience, and I wouldn't want to go back through that again. But it's like, it's different. Sorry, it is. I'm not saying, when I look at atheism, you set up a standard of evidence of what's going to convince you that some religion is true. And everything you said here, Tommy, doesn't indicate that that's what happened at all. Okay. God forced you to be a Christian again. And I want you to think about that kind of relationship. if a husband forces his wife to come home by grabbing her by the hair and dragging her back to her house, to her bed, to his bed, that's not a relationship, that's abuse. So, yeah, so there's that. And I'm sorry, the prophecy thing doesn't work for me. A line of succession for 27 from me. Holy shit, that's wrong. Yeah, it's we do need a laugh from time to time. I've heard those all the time. I've said it before. Yeah, it's kind of my feelings at this point. You can't be serious, really. Prophecies. Have you ever read, Tommy? Go back and read The Late Great Planet Earth by Hal Lindsey and see how well he did, because he thought the same thing, and he did his back in the 80s, 70s, and the 80s. So, yeah, they were dead. They were gone. And these countries decided to give it back to them. Yeah, it's what I say. You can go back into belief, but it's like you're going to have very bad reasons to go. It's like an addiction. It's I think, when you have an absence of something, like an atheist has an absence of religion, so there's nothing there that you're really addicted to. I mean, you can get addicted to other things. I mean, I think Cranky Elder God started out with the stream with the word high spelled HIGH. So probably indicating his current state. So, I mean, you can have other things that you get involved with, but atheism doesn't have any belief system. So it's not really a worldview, but religion is. And I think there's an addiction to the worldview that people get in. I just don't see how you could have good reasons. So there's that. Yeah, most of the time that was true. They were always a vassal of somebody else. It's very rare for them to actually have like independence if you look at the archaeology. Oh man. Yes, this is what I've learned in deconverting is I'm so glad not to let somebody else control the ride. Um, I'm just I'm far more I enjoy the joy of moments far more than I used to. So and you're making up the same crap that he did. You're literally believing stuff that's absolute garbage, dude. There's nothing there. There's nothing here. I don't hate the Jews. I feel sorry for them. Okay, I don't hate them at all. Yeah, so yeah, okay, there we go. Oh. Yeah. But yeah, this is the joy of being a non-believer. I like it when I see other people have fun now. I can enjoy it when other people do it. But yeah. Yeah, time for the naughty nap again. So, well, folks, coming up to the end of the stream. So I just wanted a few reminders. Next week, I'm going to start streaming probably this time every night, hopefully. And whether I do a Friday or Saturday stream will depend on the donations. So thanks out for coming out tonight. I appreciate it. It's been good. It's been good for me. Thank you for the laughs. I need that from time to time running this channel. I want to thank even the theists for coming in, for reminding me why I'm not one of them anymore. The logic, the reasoning, the stuff that's just vacant. I just don't have it in me anymore. And I'm not being mean, but it's like, yeah, it does get tiresome, but at the same time, it kind of reminds me, thanks. And I don't know why, mods, just be on the lookout every Thursday. It seems like they love the stream and they like coming here, even so much to subscribe to my channel, because you have to do it in order to participate in the chat. So, I don't know. I get your point. I honestly, the goals are more about making stream viable overall for me. Um, I like streaming in many ways more than making videos, although I do like content creation too. It's just unless you ask for money on streaming, it doesn't do as well as just doing videos. So from a financial point of view, so I'm just doing that, you know. And the one thing I will absolutely tell you, John, if you can't afford to do it, please don't. I am not that pastor anymore that's going to tell you to pay your 10%. Okay, I'm just not going to do that. So but yeah, just look forward to that. Tomorrow I'll be streaming. I'll be doing a video about deconstruction. So that might be interesting for some of you, where another theist completely gets deconstruction wrong. So we'll talk about that. But I'll see you tomorrow then. But everybody, thanks for stopping by. Hit the like button, do all the things that you guys do. Thanks for the donations tonight. I appreciate all of you for doing that. It was just great. So there's that. No, you don't have to do this. But thanks, everybody. Appreciate all of you. Look forward to some stuff that's going that consensually smash the like button. Okay, there we go. Yeah, but please do that. Thank you very much. And as always, live your best life, guys. You only get one go around, then it's over. So make sure you're taking all your time, money, and opportunities and doing things for yourself, the people you love and care for, and to make this a better world. You'll be happier if you do. Don't waste them on the trappings of religion, faith. That's a dead end. I speak from experience. And as always, thanks for stopping by, and I will catch you next time, hopefully tomorrow.